and now we're going to speak to our very next boss mom about building on a solid foundation. If you are Jamaican, if you are female, you will absolutely know the brand that we are speaking about. I'm speaking to Peta-Gaye Samuda-Palmer, the CEO of one of Jamaica's longest standing and most beloved spas, Jencare Skinfarm, the now international brand built by her mother Jennifer and headed by Peter Gay some 7 years prior to her mother's passing. The pressure is no less when you take the reins of the vehicle in motion and you have no choice but to keep it moving. The rules of engagement are the same. You must focus, innovate, and most importantly, you must think big. Peter Gay, welcome. Are you on
Happy to
mute?
be here.
Are you on mute? You're looking so beautiful.
Am I on? Can you hear me?
Okay, go again, Peter Gay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. You're looking
Okay.
absolutely
Hi,
beautiful.
Terry.
How are
Thank
you?
you. I am well. Very honored to be on this chat, to
Oh,
join this conversation.
no, thank you for accepting the invitation. No, I've been to Jencare. I always enjoy going there. Those girls always take care of me when I come in with my broke foot, broke hand, broke nail, all sorts of things, and they've always taken care of me. Let's talk about building the foundation. For a lot of us growing up, we have parents who have heard about saving. So they save their money, but they generally live paycheck to paycheck. And then by the time we get a little bit old, we take care of our parents, and there is no sense of generational legacy and generational wealth. It's really good to see that we're now speaking about it. Your mom did a fantastic job of building this world class brand. And the reason why I say world class is because it's no longer local, it's also international. How does it feel being the beneficiary? You're definitely in it from the business standpoint, but how does it feel to know that she's left this legacy that is generational?
Oh, Terry. So, um, it definitely is. It's amazing, right? I really appreciate this foundation, especially because it's her. It's from her. She started this business with the love and support of my dad from the ground up, right? So I got a chance to live and see firsthand the struggles, the challenges, and also the wins. So, definitely very appreciative of her foundation. But of course, as you said, it's a vehicle and you have to keep it in motion. And sometimes it requires changing the wheels, upgrading the model, all these things, right? But definitely the perks of having this foundation because there's already an infrastructure, systems are already in place that work, but yeah, it's lots of work still, yet
Hmm.
still.
Did you ever feel pressured? And I'm asking this question on behalf of some participants who may, be the children growing up in a family business or, a business run by family. And there is this automatic expectation that you will take over the business. And we've seen where some children are like, no, I want to create my own path, my own legacy. And then there are others who say, well, I'll take it up. For you, was it a natural progression? Was it something that you said, I had other plans, but I think I owe it to my mom? What was it like for you?
So, great question, by the way. If
Thank
you
you.
know my mom, right, she did not force me into this business at all, which I
Mm.
couldn't understand when getting into it. How is that possible, right? That she didn't. She literally fostered and nurtured all of my interests and my talents. I mean, I wanted to go to medical school, right?
Really?
And really, yes. And she would say, oh, you love this chemistry thing. Why you don't go and explore chemistry? Because, when you go to medical school, you're not going to have a life. So go do your chemistry and stuff. So I went off and got my master's, and then she's like, all right, what do you think you want to do? You think you want to come in and probably try a little bit of the products, and this birth next gen by Jencare, very strategic, right?
Very
But
strategic.
always felt like she fostered my interest. And What it ended up doing, in all honesty, is making the interest in this business so authentic and
Yes.
so genuine. I mean, it's now my oxygen
Oh,
that I'm like,
wow.
I'm always floored and I'm like, how magical that has happened. You know, I just couldn't have imagined it any better.
That's
So,
beautiful. No, that's absolutely beautiful. She's brilliant though. She gave you the room. She sprinkled little suggestions, little hints, and then she's like, come back, honey.
yeah.
There's a place right
and
here
and
for
she
you."
always tried to spark my interest. She would introduce me to clients. She would draw me into the facial room, and she was called Magic Hands, right?
Yes.
So I would get an opportunity to see, and personality, right? So I would see how she transformed that client, whether it's the skin, the room, the vibe. It's just, I mean, it was
That was
remarkable.
her.
So she just, that just, you couldn't help but be interested,
Right.
you know.
So let me ask you this now. Well, I think when I spoke to Michelle, Michelle said that she had really bad acne growing up as a child. I think when she was at 12 or 13. And so I think her parents took her to this garage, and I think it was your mom who basically gave her some cream because it wasn't the big fancy establishment that she had that
It
we know
wasn't
of
even a
now.
garage, it was a veranda.
It was a
It
veranda,
was a,
not even a
yes,
garage. Excuse
no,
me, it's a veranda, right? And what Michelle said is that she met this lovely woman, great personality, who basically gave her cream. I don't even know if it was packaged and branded and all of these fancy things, but she said her skin cleared up and she's been a Jencare baby ever since. So we're looking at this person who's done this for years. She dies, unfortunately. And now there is this leadership role that, of course, there might have been some succession planning probably happening, whether you knew it or not. But now you have to step in to a company that has been established. You have clients who are accustomed to a certain thing. You may have your own vision and ideas. Did you ever feel as if you would fail or that you wouldn't be able to fill her shoes? Or was filling her shoes even something you considered?
Terry, every day. So it's funny because when I first lost her, you know, I was like, I'm going to have to fill mommy's shoes. And I
Yes.
can't even tell you, that was the biggest mountain that I could not climb
Mm-hmm.
because she is irreplaceable.
Yes.
So it turned into me realizing that it wasn't about that. It was that I had to bring to the table my contributions, which were talents and interests that she herself fostered, right? I had to bring that to the table. And um, in a business, right? In a business
Right.
that's already established, you have a vision. The company's vision is already in place. Like,
Yes.
for example, for her, her vision was having a Jencare, Skinfarm, and day spa everywhere, right? Second generation comes around, and the vision is making Jencare accessible to everyone. Now, that might be the same destination, but is the vehicle not going on the same path? They're
Yes.
kind of,
Yes.
so it changes, and with that, of course, comes a little bit of a challenge. Still trying to figure it out. Second generation comes and is like
This.
disrupting vision. There's already a brand identity, but
Yes.
all of that has to remain agile in order to set the pace. Especially as a market leader, you cannot be complacent. So
Absolutely.
you always have to be open to change. And I want to say this as well, which is very important because it's something very dear to me. Like, tradition and customs are important. And what I've learned, because I used to be a head that comes in and is like, but it should be this way, or you cannot see it work. And now I've realized that you have to learn and understand and appreciate those traditions and customs before you can even attempt to try to say,
To
okay, let me try to
disrupt.
change something. Yeah, it doesn't work any other way. My dad is still in this company, right? He's a
Yes.
founder as well. And so it just not work any other way. You have to know why things are the way they are. You have to appreciate that they've worked the way they have thus far before you can say, okay, it's a pandemic and, technology is important. We gotta flow with it. We
Yes.
have to learn,
Yes.
so.
Yes, I appreciate your honesty in terms of, understanding this huge responsibility that you now have to live up to the brand and the brand identity and of course the culture of your company and even the staff that would have been accustomed to your mom. How do you as a leader, how do you deal and are there any things that you do in particular, whether it's journaling, how do you deal with those moments of self-doubt where you're just like, am I doing the right thing? Am I leading the right way? Is this decision potentially going to put us back? How do you deal with those moments of whether it is lack of confidence, self-doubt, imposter syndrome? What do you as Peta-Gaye harness or take on to center yourself?
And that is actually something that's very real, right? Every once in a while you want to do things the way that you're accustomed to doing. You're afraid of stepping outside of the box because what if you fail? Or disrupting anything too much that might cause an explosion. But I would say that I have a really awesome support team. So I would like to say that I meditate and I do yoga and I pray and
And that you do Pilates.
which is all true, all of that. But it really comes down to my support team. So my husband, my brother, my dad, they're amazing. So if I end up coming to a certain decision that I'm a little, apprehensive about and so on, they really make it better. They have so much confidence in me that sometimes I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
great, let's go, let's do this, So the cheerleading behind me helps, and it's usually very loud.
Lovely. Let's talk about modernization. We have a lot of boss moms in the chat. Some might be startups, some are growth entrepreneurs, they're in the process of growing. And you have those who might be veterans. We've seen the pandemic, we've seen the effect it has had, the impact it has had on businesses and the economy at large, the world at large. And you mentioned taking this brand that is already well known, high quality, great customer service, modernizing it, implementing systems, and even putting it into different territories. That is like really going wide with the vision. What advice do you have for persons who are still stuck in terms of taking their brand from brick and mortar or from what it is known into what it can potentially be? What advice do you have for them?
You know, not to be to take it step by step, right? It's a process, not to get too overwhelmed by where you want to be. You have to enjoy the small steps, the small wins to get to the very big wins. And in this business especially, it always comes down to the 3 Ps, right? Processes, products, and people. So
where did you go? Hold on, you said processes and then you
processes, product, and people. So your processes, this is where technology and stuff like that will come into play. You have to be open to learning and moving with that, because there's always advancements in technology and it's here to make us more efficient. A lot of people sometimes shy away from it, not what because of the growth, having to learn. And you can't if you want your business to be efficient, you have to get into the technology. Your product has to be it has to cater to the needs of the customer. It has to be viable, and sometimes it may even have to be different, and that is important to stand out. What's going to make you different,
right?
And then of course the people. So for me, coming into a foundation that's already established, and my mom was amazing. This part is really great because I have tenured staff, so I've already come into that, who have loyalty to the brand. So it's more than just, work. It's Jencare, it's their home. And then the clients. My mom, sparked an interest for me from years ago. So an established clientele who is now like family, who I now get to serve their children and sometimes even their grandchildren.
Yes.
So, you end up with a generational clientele, and there's so much value in that.
Yes.
It's our people.
Yes.
So it's important, but it's step by step, right? My mom did that. So it's not getting overwhelmed with the vision, doing the work that it takes to get there, and you can get there. And just understanding that you're going to have to be open to learning, sometimes changing and adapting, right? If you want to grow.
Extremely important. Now, let me ask you your personal opinion. I've gone into different webinars and seminars and conferences, I'm sure, like many of our participants, and I've heard some business leaders say, focus on what you're strong in, get the right team, delegate, and let them handle the areas that you're weak in. And I've heard other persons say, as a leader in your company, it is important for you to understand and know the processes of every single touch point within your company. One is better than the other. You agree with one, you disagree with the other?
I go with the first because I can't know everything. So this is where delegate and get, a knowledgeable team together. There are people who are going to be able to do things better than you can. I'm not great at processes. I mean, I learn here and there, but we have a team that's so amazing.
And I appreciate that, because I think a lot of us get burnt out because we think we have to know everything. And it depends on who it is, you listen to it. It depends on where you're getting your information. For some of us, we listen to business leaders who say, don't sleep, grind all day, 24 hours. You need to know everything, know all the processes. And then we have different kinds of leaders who tell us, hey, focus on your strength. And the parts that you're weak on, get the right people to fill those gaps so that you can continue to build the capacity in your strength. So I'm actually very happy that you mentioned that. Do we have any questions from, oh, well, here it is. I was just asking if we have any questions. And we have a question here for you, Peta-Gaye. It says, your mother had a dream for you as the next generation to build the brand. What is your dream or vision for your children to carry on the legacy? Very good question.
So when it comes to that, I handle it with gloves, right? Very, very delicate about it, because just as she didn't force me here, I want to make sure to afford the same thing to my children. I want to foster and nurture and truly do this, their talents and interests. But I'll tell you this, that I know for sure, is that the way that you communicate what things mean to you, like, for example, this business, I know how much it was for my mom, right?
Yes.
It served others. It's also served her, not just financially, but also it was fulfilling for her and is now my oxygen.
Yes.
I know that my kids, and in any family business, I think this is how it is. It possibly is that your kids learn your values. They learn it and they adopt it, and it's I want it to be as organic as possible. A little strategic, yes, because I'm you try to spark their interest because you do want it generational, but definitely not forcing them into this. One of the things that happened yesterday, coincidentally, it was my birthday. And my sister-in-law, thank you. My sister-in-law asked my son, Josiah, he's 4, right? And she asked him, what do you appreciate most about mommy? And he said, mommy works so hard to take care of us. And, he floored me. But in that moment, I was like, oh, It's the same thing. Something is going right, because
Yes.
I appreciate so much more about my mom. No, I can't even explain. But at that age, at that time, I would probably have said the same thing. So
Yes.
as organic as it can be is a thing, in this beauty industry, in this spa industry. This is a company now that, you know, my kids, they don't have to come in and necessarily be a therapist, or a particular um a particular position.
Yes.
They can come in doing anything. They can love technology and come in and apply it. They can be a lawyer and come in and apply that.
Correct.
So it's very important to really just be genuine. I think. It was the greatest thing mommy could have ever done, because she's not here. We are here. And the passion for Jencare
Yes.
is just as strong as if she were right here.
That's
And
beautiful.
that's her. That's her.
No, that's
So
beautiful. My last question to you, if I don't see any other questions from the participants, how transparent or emotional should we be as parents? So, for example, for most of us as moms, we work hard. We're trying to do the whole mom thing, career thing, boss thing. If you have a spouse, you're doing the whole wife thing. How important is it for our children to actually see our moments of um, failure or overwhelm or mommy's not having a great day because apart we're proud, and it's a cultural thing, it's a traditional thing, so we tend to hold everything in so they don't see us cry, they don't see how much we grind. Does that help or does that hurt? What do you practice?
I think it helps. And I'm very transparent with them. So I want them to see the struggles. I want them to see the challenges, of course, within reason. But I want them to see all that it takes, that hard work. I don't want
Yes,
them to just, see any kind of glory or wins and feel like
that's
that's what
it.
it is. No, they have to see that. Some days you just feel like, oh, this pandemic,
Yes, yes.
and it's rough right now. So it's, they have to see that, and they have to see everything that you go through on a day to day to make it work. So they know how important it is.
Great. So transparency as well as honesty. It totally humanizes you as well, and it humanizes the process of life. So they don't think
Yes.
that it's all um, poses and everything is just absolutely perfect, but that you actually humanize the process of being human and being a mom. Lastly, what is a boss mom to you, in your words?
Oh
What
gosh.
is a boss mom?
So I think a boss mom is someone who is able to. There's never really balance, right?
Right.
Sorry,
Doesn't
the
exist.
spa industry, but not in that level, right? But it's about being in harmony. So
Mm.
my thing that I always do, my husband, I always check in and I say, is he good? Awesome. The children, are they good? Excellent. And then work. So I make sure that everything works together in harmony, and I think that is what it's about. Um, yeah, balancing, well, harmony.
Oh, well, listen, my darling. Peta-Gaye Samuda-Palmer, CEO, definitely of one of Jamaica's longest running and most beloved spas. Congratulations. If your mom were here, I know that she'd be super proud to see how you just stepped into the role and not only upheld her values and her principles and just respecting and acknowledging the culture that already existed, but also creating your own legacy within the company with your own twist and your own little sprinkling of your own awesomeness. So, on behalf of all of our participants, and definitely on behalf of Michelle Gordon, we'd like to say thank you and keep up the fantastic job. We are rooting for you here in Jamaica and Trinidad. And where else is Jencare?
That's it. Jamaica, Florida, and Trinidad.
Jamaica, Florida. Listen, enough place that, okay? A lot of us are still working on our verandas and in our
Online.
garage, so that's a big deal. So thank you so very much, Peter. Again, please stay safe,
Thank
you and
you,
your family,
Terry.
for
Thank
the
you,
year.
Michelle. Good to be here.
No problem. Take care. Wow, that was a fantastic conversation. And again, I just love the fact that these different speakers have different backgrounds, different ages, different reasons.